Hey, bonus hour. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned bonus hour? If you're tuning in, you're going, hey, where's my Ducks insider? Well, there's baseball today. 1:45 is your pregame, I believe, over on 910 ESPN.
1:15.
Oh, 1:15. What did I say?
1:45.
1:45. 1:15. So in 14 minutes and 57, 56, 50. It'll be over there. 910 ESPN Portland. If you need your Ducks baseball, no Duck Insider today. So you are with us. We're doing a bonus hour, and it's a good weekend for it. Man, we have a little exciting basketball game going on Sunday. Next week there's something going on pretty big in the NFL. Baseball's really starting to heat up. We've got day game action right now. Cubs up 7-3 on the Mets. We're trying to shake off, what are they on an 8-game losing streak? Did they finally win one? Did the Mets finally win one?
They're playing right now.
I know. I'm watching them right now.
I think they're still in that 8
That's what I just said. So they're trying to break it, but they're down 7-3. Cubs got them right now. So there is plenty to talk about. Casey, you still want to try what we talked about earlier?
I'm all for it.
Casey's going to try to do his live mock draft. You're going to do the Seahawks draft. They only have 4 picks, and you're going to tell everybody who they are going to take or who the options are. What's your plan? What's your plan for this?
I'm going to give a few players, just
okay,
possibilities based off team needs, fit, that type of stuff.
Perfect. Since I have given up on college football, having somebody that might know what they're talking about on this show is probably going to be a refreshing change for everybody when we dip into the college football world, because I don't think there's any European players in this draft that are highly touted.
Not that I can think of.
No, that's other sports where they do that. Nobody on the international market that they're looking at.
There could be a rugby player out there that we don't know.
Hey, every once in a while, you'll see one of those guys. They tend to be undrafted free agents, so we will get to see that. The other thing that we're going to do today, we'll get into the normal hour of this show in the 2 o'clock hour, as we always do when we get the bonus hour, but it's Friday. We normally do Fan Club Friday and bring in a comedian. This week, we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to check in with your Seattle Mariners. So instead of being funny, it's going to be sad because the Mariners start, let's be honest, not great. But we're going to get Gary Hill Jr. from the radio broadcast. He's going to join us and tell us what he's seeing from the booth and what we need to expect as they move forward. But I think the biggest thing this weekend, I don't know what to expect, which I love. For me in sports, the best thing about sports, my wife works in the movie theater business. Her and I watched, 35 trailers yesterday, because every once in a while she's like, oh man, there's some really good movies coming out, and we'll sit down and we'll watch all the trailers coming up. A bunch of big brains got into a room and they took the original script and they all went, oh, but should it end like this? How do you think things should end for this character? What should we do? You get all the teases, you get all the build-up. Act 3, everything's going to crumble as you go into Act 3, and then you're going to get your hero to have some sort of revelation. There's going to be an ending that has been decided on by a bunch of people. The best thing about sports is we have no idea how any of this is going to end. Has anybody ever done XYZ in sports? Probably not. Guess what? There's some nerd sitting right behind the broadcasters punching in a bunch of data going, on a Sunday afternoon, this is the most points ever scored in the third quarter by whatever happens, we don't know. You can sit there and you can make all your bets. You can have all the fun you want. We can tell you what we think might happen. I think Victor Wembanyama is going to be 7'4". I think he's going to be difficult to get around because he moves really well for how tall he is. Also a good scorer, also a great defender, probably going to be Defensive Player of the Year. Is he going to be a challenge? Absolutely he is. Have we ever seen him in an NBA playoff series? Has anyone ever seen him in an NBA playoff series? Now, last time I checked, how old is he? 22? 23?
I believe so.
So, he's a young kid. You can go out there and you got at least 4 different opportunities to try 4 different strategies in your planning for the game.
22.
So 22 years old. You've got 4 different opportunities at minimum to try different game plans. You also have a bunch of opportunities to try different things during the game. If you can find something that works and go with it, no reason the Blazers can't win a couple games. Have crazier things happen than a 2 seed beating a 7 seed? They certainly have. Doesn't happen very often. But I don't know why anybody would poo-poo this experience versus the alternative, which is you could be in the second play-in game that's happening tonight. You could be sitting where the Phoenix Suns are right now, which would be hosting a game, which great, but you're going to host 2 playoff games at minimum anyways, so you'd much rather be where you are. You could be hosting a game against the Warriors tonight. Be fun, because it's a winner goes home. Winner goes in, loser goes home. That's fantastic. I like that the NBA has done this. This is really the first year. This is the first year that the Blazers have been in this little tournament. I've always thought it was kind of silly, to be quite honest. But you get your team in it, now you got some juice. Kind of like it. Am I going to pay as close of attention to the Warriors and Suns as I did the Blazers and Suns? Absolutely not. But I know you're hyped, my man. Ho, your Hornets.
Let's go.
Taking on the Magic.
Do or die.
Do or die. Isn't this what we all want in sports?
We want meaningful games.
It's me. And
meaningful games mean so much to everyone.
Do the Blazers have at least 4 meaningful games coming up?
Yes, they do.
Most meaningful games they've had all season?
By far.
There you go. It's what you want. What is your expectation for the tip-off to the finish of the game on Sunday? Like, what do you expect? What is a positive outcome for you? Are you a morals victory guy?
I think it's nice to have moral victories, but losing sucks.
I don't think there's any question about that. You can't lose a series in the first game. I know that for a fact. So
I think, moral victory, maybe you gain a little more ground than you thought you might have had.
What do they say? A series doesn't start until the home team loses. So
Game 3.
I got 2 games to test out, what you can do. Deni Avdija was great in the playing game. He's 41 points, making shots down the stretch. He has basically the ball in his hand in every deciding moment in that game, every possession down the stretch, and he delivered. Will we get an opportunity to see that against a much better team? I sure hope so. I sure hope so. But the other thing is, this weekend you're going to get the start of all the playoff series. Like, what are you going to get from these teams? You know what I do know about the Spurs? They played the Nuggets a couple times down the stretch, and I know that it didn't matter necessarily for seeding. Nuggets are coming in pretty hot into this postseason. They've got one of the best players on the planet, if not the best player on the planet, who averaged a triple-double again, led the league in assists and rebounds, first guy ever to do that. You've got SGA and his crew in Oklahoma City, who's defending champs. They're going to be good. This might be LeBron's last go-around. He has not denied the idea that this could be it for him. He's going to be a free agent. He can go wherever he wants if he wants to go somewhere. He took the player option. He's getting paid $52 million this year to play for the Lakers. He doesn't have a contract next year. He's got no obligation to anybody. He can go and team up with Steph Curry if he wants to after. He could go back to Cleveland. He could I was gonna say he could come to Portland, but let's be honest, he's not coming to Portland. But he could do whatever he wants. But there's a report out today from a couple fairly reputable writers that said, yeah, you know what? This might be it. He has said that he does not want to do the farewell tour. I'm going to say, I'll miss the league without LeBron. But it's his last run. What are you going to get from him? Will Luka actually make it back? He's been back and forth between here and Europe trying to figure out if he can figure out how to make his leg work. Rockets, KD. KD hasn't won anything by himself, has he?
Nope.
No, he has not. So I look at all the matchups. That doesn't even include the East, which is this the time the Knicks can finally figure something out and get over the top? Are the Pistons good enough this young to be a championship contender? You got to take on the 76ers if you're the Celtics. And I know the 76ers aren't consistent, but they got a lot of talent. And the Celtics, they've got one with this crew. Can they go out and prove what they are, man? I love the NBA playoffs. And you're gonna get games that are gonna be terrible. But how many times do you watch a series where game 1, 20-point blowout victory one way, game 2, a 20-point blowout victory the other way, and then those end up becoming the really intense series? It's not very often, unless Chris Paul's playing, that you get a big blowout in a game 7. But I want one of these. I want one of these first round series to go the distance. Make it compelling. Make it one of those things where you have all of this, I don't know what you would call it, momentum going in, plus fatigue, the combination of that, where you've got somebody that just swept and they're waiting for somebody that comes off 7 games and then go and get punched right in the mouth, the rest versus rust, whatever it is. It's a great weekend in sports, man. The nice thing about the NBA playoffs is they last 7 months. So, I mean, they're going to be just as long as the season was. So that's the nice thing is we're going to get them until, mid-summer. So we'll be right around the All-Star break for Major League Baseball when we'll actually wrap up the NBA playoffs. That's the only thing that I would have to say is a complaint. You're going to do those 2 days off when we get into the NBA Finals. It's going to be awful. But for right now, your Blazers are in it. How excited are we? How pumped are you to see what this team can be? Can, as a team, ever won a series without a single late checkout from a hotel? Is that something that a team has ever done? Did you catch that story?
I did. I'm a little bit weirded out about that.
Now, it was staff. It wasn't players. So if you missed this.
But where does the trickle down stop?
Oh, no. It's weird. It's real weird. So the Blazers are in Phoenix, and people start noticing a lot of people wearing Blazers gear hanging out in the lobby. So apparently the staff had asked for late checkouts like they normally do. It's 2-3 hours before the buses come and take them to the airport. The team denied late checkouts for select Blazers staffers to save, what's the cost for a late checkout? $50?
$100?
Let's say it's $100. If that. I've worked in hotels. It's not that expensive. They're probably staying in a very nice hotel. And, they're trying to get, as much money out of people as they can. So let's say it's $150. Are you serious? You just bought a team for how many $1 billion? And this is what we're going to worry about? Tough week for this to come out. Tough time for this to come out. You get the best win in 4 or 5 years, and that's the news that comes out. We get that press conference, and everybody hears, I'm not going to pay a lot of money for a coach. And you're like, that can't be real. He'll figure it out. Not great. Come on, Blazers. Let's get some wins. Let's get everybody excited. Let's get those purse strings opened up wide, and let's start a little bit of a run that people can be proud of. Don't turn into a cheap team that has a sweep followed by a lowballing of coaches, followed by nothing in free agency, followed by another miserable stretch of basketball. I want to be excited. I'm trying to be excited. That one, it got me down a little bit. Are you working on your draft right now?
We're grinding away.
Okay. So if you guys didn't get enough contribution from Casey in that segment, he is grinding right now. He just produced another show. We're going to talk it. We're going to talk NFL draft. What do the defending Super Bowl champions do? What do the defending AFC North champions who haven't won a playoff game in quite a while going to do? What are they going to do? Do you want to know what your team's going to do? Text in. We'll get Casey on those. So start sending your text, your YouTube chats. Send them now. 503-864-6326 is your fan text line. We're putting Casey's big football brain on blast. We'll see if it works. And this time next week, we'll know how well he got the first round and beyond. It is bonus hour of Happy Hour on 105.1 The Fan. tell you, you give some power over to Casey and you let him. So if you didn't listen to yesterday's show, by the way, if you're tuning in for Duck Insider, there is no Duck Insider today. They're playing baseball. Right now, go over to 910 ESPN Portland if you hate the sound of my voice. If you love the sound of my voice and you're looking for Duck Insider, you can stay here. It's the bonus hour of Happy Hour. If you're listening to yesterday's show, I discovered that Casey Smith, lowercase, our esteemed producer, started doing his own mock drafts at 15 years old and did them for how long? For 7-8 years?
About 5 years.
So you, once upon a time, as a teenage punk, decided that I don't trust Mel Kiper Jr. I don't need these guys doing I'll mock my own draft, thank you very much. I'm smarter than these fools, and we have revived it. You are back. You are taking on the helmet-haired Mel Kiper Jr. You are taking on the NFL Network. You are taking on the ESPN giant.
Daniel Jeremiah, look out.
Get out of here, Jeremiah. Daniel, you got nothing on my guy. All right. I don't know if that's true. There's a bunch of mock drafts out there. I actually started pulling them up. I was saying how much I don't understand mock drafts. I don't understand the whole exercise. That's how we got to this. This is the first time I've ever pulled up mock drafts. There's a guy named Chad Reuter's got one on NFL.com is the first one that I pulled up. I scrolled down. So you are a Steelers fan. So you are picking your Steelers and what you've got. And then you're going to pick the Seahawks for me. And then anybody that texts in, we're going to have you try to get their mock draft as well. So we are less than a week from the first round starting in Pittsburgh. This is all very, very exciting. Here's my first question for you. Where do you even start to do a mock draft? Don't you just look at other mock drafts and then go, I don't like that one, I like that one. Then if this one happens, then I have to do this one. Like, how do you do this?
You crowdsource.
Again, yeah, so you're doing
exactly what you said. You look at mock drafts and go, there's no way we go with that guy.
Okay, based on what?
Based off of gut feeling.
Gut feeling. Did
analytics, statistics, again, how their pro day went, their scheme fit, everything.
I know that the Steelers are without Mike Tomlin for the first time. Have they gotten rid of anybody else in the front office? I don't know what.
Yeah, the coaching staff completely.
I knew the coaching staff. Yeah, so your head coach leaves. 99% of the guys in position coaches tend to leave with it.
But all of the Steelers' former scouts are players who played under Mike Tomlin.
Okay.
All the guys that I watched growing up. Yeah. So Ike Taylor, he's our cornerbacks scout. He was at many pro days. He was at Clemson's pro day, which is why I have Jermod McCoy, the Clemson corner. He went to Tennessee. I have Avion Terrell going to the Steelers because his pro day, obviously, he had a big injury at his pro day that people think is going to drop him back in the draft. He's the brother of A.J. Terrell.
Okay.
You know A.J. Terrell?
Who is A.J. Terrell?
A.J. Terrell is a multiple-time All-Pro cornerback with the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay. Yes, I know him. Yeah, dude, that guy is ridiculous. We played against the Falcons this year. That guy moves.
And stuff out of Steelers camp said Jermod McCoy looks really nice on tape. He's got great footwork. And Avion Terrell, as long as that injury doesn't keep him off the field. And if you have Joey Porter and Jamel Dean, looks like you need a young guy to develop the room.
All right, so all you do is you take the positions of need that somebody else put out there for you, and then you look at some...
I'm assessing the positions.
You're assessing it. Okay. And then you look at somebody else's breakdown of those, or are you watching tape?
I'm watching tape.
Oh, I love this. All right. Okay, so we're going with Terrell. What's his first name? AJ?
Avion. AJ is his brother.
AJ is with the Falcons. Got it. So AJ with the Falcons. Avion Terrell going to the Steelers at pick, what do you have, 20-something?
21.
All right, here's what everybody wants to know. First, give me, what are the Seahawks' positions of need based on your assessment?
Corner, because you guys lost Tariq Woolen, so you got to add to that room.
Yep.
You lost Boya Mafe, so you're going to need some edge rushers.
Okay.
Kenneth Walker's gone, so maybe add a little bit more depth behind Charbonnet and Alani.
Well, Charbonnet's also coming off that ACL, so who knows if he's ready for the start of the season. So
you're always going to want to beef up on that O-line, get Sam Darnold comfortable.
Here's what I will say, though. All 13 of the offensive linemen that were on the Super Bowl winning roster are back with the Seahawks. So they have the same starting front five, and then you have the same depth that you had, which proved to be instrumental because your left tackle, Charles Cross, was out down the stretch. And so you actually went 3 deep at times at the most important position at left tackle and held up in a murderer's row stretch down the stretch where you played both the Rams and the 49ers and did just fine. So,
and you ran the ball very well throughout the entire
100%. So I will push back on offensive line. First of all, being a position of need. Second of all, being a position where you have any room to add anybody. I'm with you on running back. I'm with you on edge. I'm with you on corner. But I would also say just in general secondary, because you did lose Kobe Bryant, and they did very well taking a guy that was kind of a positionless secondary guy named Nick Emmanwori. I don't know if you heard that name before.
Well, that's perfect because I've got your first round selections.
Ooh, who do you got?
If Avion Terrell is around, I do have him or D'Angelo Pons as your first pick at 32.
Okay, I'm gonna push back on you on D'Angelo Pons. How tall is he?
Again,
D'Angelo Pons is how tall?
6 foot.
5'8" 3/4. He is shorter than you and I.
No, and what did he do on the first play of the?
Hey, no, listen, I get it. I he is better than Carson Beck is at reading defenses. I will give you that. Where's Carson Beck being drafted?
I was also shouting out Dante Moore there as well.
Well, yes, that is true too. So yes, Dante Moore as well. Dante Moore going back to school. So D'Angelo Pons, I like the idea of it. Very productive player. He has very good numbers as far as explosiveness. He leaps out of the building. He is fast. He's small. So to spend a first round pick on a 5'8" 3/4 cornerback, I will say no thank you. I don't know that corner is your number one position of need.
I also have Brandon Sissy. He's up there. He played at South Carolina next to Emmanwori. He is their nickel safety.
Nichols, but see, safety is not a premium position.
But when you have the continuity of a guy that played next to Emmanwori is still projected to go in the first round, that's where I like Sis there.
Yeah, but see, Emmanwori was projected to possibly go in the first round, but they used their first round pick on Gray Zabel, moved up in the second round to get Emmanwori. So if you have somebody that is a lookalike who is not quite the same sort of athlete, because how tall is your boy there? Is it Sissy or Cisse? Oh, I thought it was Cisse.
I think it's Cisse. He's 6 foot.
6 foot. How tall is Nicky Emmanwori?
6'3".
So I'm just saying, makes the difference. So if you did not take Emmanwori in the first round,
continuity in the room was what I was looking for.
I get that, but I don't think you want the continuity come from they played together in college. The continuity is already there. This team just won a Super Bowl. You want somebody that can go into the room and fit what is already going on there, not bring something from the outside that brings continuity. I think I trust Mike McDonald in the way that he's built this defense. So I've shot down 3, I think, of your. Give me somebody outside of the secondary. You're not going to convince me on secondary, anyways. I know that there are some guys. If for some reason Caleb Downs were to drop to 32, you can talk me into getting a secondary player. He will not be doing that, despite whatever's going on with his knee. So, beyond that,
in the running back room,
okay,
I've got Washington running back Jonah Coleman
as a first-round pick?
No, third round.
Oh, third round.
Yeah,
I thought we're talking. I want at 32. Who are we taking at 32? I'm outright dismissing the idea of taking.
You're taking Tariq Woolen's replacement at 32.
No, you're not. We're not getting anybody in the secondary unless you've got somebody that is going to be, again, dropping, that should be a top 10 prospect. I'm not taking
Avion Terrell?
No. Well, you've got him going at 20.
If the Steelers don't take him at 21 because of the injury, that's the guy that dropped.
But then you got a guy that has injury problems, and he dropped. Okay, give me somebody else. Give me an edge. Give me a running back was the other one. And
Noah Whittington, Oregon running back.
No, you got him as a first-round draft grade?
Not in the first.
Okay, 32. Pick 32, Casey. I know that you fell in love with this. You're
hung up on pick 32.
Yes,
I have three other round stories.
Well, let me do this. How likely do you think the Seahawks would be to move out of the first round? If somebody is willing to move up, the Seahawks only have 4 picks in this draft. It is not a terribly deep draft at certain positions, and some of the positions where they are deep are actually the positions of need that you have for the Seahawks. So this is me just looking at draft, not looking at mocks and not trying to guess. The edge is actually a very deep class in this year's draft. So you could probably get the same quality edge at 32, and you're not going to have that much drop-off if you pick up at 64.
And that's why I got edge rushers in the 3rd and the 4th.
Okay, 3rd and 4th. And so this is my question for you. If we're looking at running backs in this draft, the 2 names that I'm hearing overwhelmingly that are head and shoulders above everybody else are Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame and Jadarian Price, also from Notre Dame. The drop-off after those 2 guys apparently is pretty drastic. So this is my curiosity. Is you a professional mock drafter, because you are being paid right now and you're mock drafting. So now you're officially a professional. So that dream you had as a 15-year-old,
full fruition.
It's coming true. But you're also taking the brunt of it because you're trying to pick the Seahawks against somebody that's very passionate about this. So take that. This is what it's like to be a professional. You have to stand up to scrutiny.
I'll wear my licks.
If there's only 2 backs, and I know that it's not a premium position, would you go running back at 32, or is that too high in your mind?
It's still very high. I don't think there's been many first-round caliber running backs in the last 5 years.
Last 5 years. Now I'm really need to think about it. Bijan Robinson?
Again, those are the no-brainer guys, but the drop-off after that
for sure.
Is where you can find these guys in the 3rd, in the 4th. You can find an undrafted 32-year-old Raheem Mostert and still make it work.
Yeah, the one thing that concerns me about the Seahawks losing Kenneth Walker isn't that they're losing the world's most productive back or the world's most consistently healthy back. I think it was the right move to let him walk. What they really lost was a home run hitting ability out of the backfield. Somebody that can be a pass catcher, somebody that can take a 4-yard jump cut and turn it into a 60-yard touchdown. I think that's what they're losing. I have been talking myself into the idea that if there is a drop-off where you've got a grade as a starter, potential Pro Bowl, I hate saying Pro Bowler because Shedeur Sanders made the Pro Bowl, but potential All-Pro and has that electric speed in Jadarian Price, and the drop-off is that dramatic. I heard someone say this week that in the average NFL draft, there are 21 running backs taken. They have 8 graded out to be taken in this entire draft. So that means at the top, if it is that light and you need to replace a home run back, I think Jadarian Price might be your guy. So that's what I'm going to say. You can say that might be too high for a back, but I've kind of convinced myself that that's where my brain is willing to go with this.
Yeah,
Okay.
Too high for the back.
All right. We'll see what happens next Thursday. That is where we'll go. Do you want to do any more draft analysis? I know I hammered you there. I was not very nice to you. You got more for me for late round picks?
I've got a few late rounds for the Seahawks.
Right.
I've got linebacker Eric Gentry out of USC. He led USC in forced fumbles and sacks.
Okay.
And that could be a great late round pick for your replacement for Boye Mafe.
I'll tell you, that is where I really want production, is at the edge. That's a position where if you don't have a guy that has numbers, there's all these guys that have the measurables, right? You fall in love with those. I think at corner, I think at safety, like you were saying with Cisse, that's a guy that has all the measurables, not a ton of production. I would much rather see the measurables in the secondary and the production at edge.
Eric Gentry, 6'6", 221, again, led USC in forced fumbles.
Well, that's pretty good. And they end up, being pretty good at getting talent in Southern California last time I checked. Hey, let's do this. We're going to switch over to baseball for the next bonus hour segment. We're going to kind of do a quick whip around the major leagues and see what is happening right now. It is now a 10-3 lead for the Cubs over the Mets in a little day baseball action that we've got on in the studio in here. But first, we have to walk over to the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk to see what we missed.
First on the Fan, I don't know if you saw this.
I don't know if I saw it either.
But Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery have paid homage to their nicknames.
Can I tell you there is another back that was drafted in the last 5 years that was worth the first round pick?
Najee Harris?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
You just named Najee Harris. Where's he playing?
Chargers, I believe.
And who drafted him?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, not worth the pick.
3,000 yard rushing seasons.
I get that. How many playoff wins? Thanks.
All right, so David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, they got back tattoos, immortalizing their nicknames forever. How do you feel about matching or sharing tattoos with a buddy of yours?
Well, it is a lot more tied to legacy when it is literally written in the record books of the Detroit Lions. I mean, those guys are playing. Sonic and Knuckles, pretty decent nicknames as far as that goes. But, in 30 years, when somebody's like, Sonic the Hedgehog? And you're like, yeah, I used to play football and do the whole thing. Listen, I don't have any tattoos because I cannot think of one that will age well enough for me to commit to it. I'm sure the first one is the hardest to get, but
that's why I'm still hesitant.
I think those guys are both tatted up already.
Yeah, they've got big back pieces.
Yeah. So go nuts. Go nuts. Put it into your collage. Yeah, go nuts.
And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
The home of dirt and spray.
All right, well, I got yelled at during the commercial break. Casey thinks I am a lunatic, saying that Jadarian Price out of Notre Dame might be the pick for the Seattle Seahawks. You know what? The fun of the mock draft might not be lost on me. The shouting match, I think, is the fun way to go. Now, do I want to go and tell you who the Browns are going to pick? No. And do I have any idea who's going to pick ahead of those 31
We're
picks?
not doing that.
And what's the most likely scenario for the Seahawks if anybody wants to trade into the first round? I have them 100% doing that. So the draft is one of those moments in sports where everybody has optimism, where your guy is going to be the guy, where people get jacked because Aaron Curry is going to the Seattle Seahawks.
The Steelers just made a post on the official NFL Instagram account.
Yeah.
Highlighting Will Howard.
Oh, let's go. Aaron Rodgers coming back?
I hope not.
What about the reunion between your guys?
It didn't end well. I don't want it on my team.
I know. It's so
it's like what? It's like don't fight at my house. Leave that at Leave that in your house.
I will say that the NFL, the coaches, the players, the front offices, nobody's better at saying nothing than the NFL. And Mike McCarthy saying, "Oh yeah, I would, it'd be great to have a reunion, whatever," and then moving immediately on to anything but talking about Aaron Rodgers is just absolutely one of those. It's hilarious to think of how much effort they put into saying nothing and how much time that we spend listening to it, trying to decipher it. That is the entire basis of what we do on Wednesdays in the subtext. Because there's some people out there. The NBA, they'll say what they think, and then you realize quickly that they don't think that well, which is very fun for me. Baseball players have too much time in these press conferences, whatever. They'll say whatever, and they'll be pissed off, but that's partly because it's a non-salary cap sport, and Bryce Harper ready to fight the commissioner when he walks into the
and
locker
it's just
room.
A frustrating sport.
You fail 7 out of 10 times. Welcome to the Hall of Fame.
You're the best.
Come on it. Yes, it's a whole thing. The NFL says more words without creating any actual news than anybody else. So going into the draft, there are, and this I know from at least looking from, there are GMs that will lay out their entire playbook when they talk to these draft analysts and go, hey, here's all the things I'm doing. And they will do it to trade information. They will go out and they will give the Mel Kipers and the Todd McShays and the Daniel Jeremiahs, they will give them what their game plan is. Or at least what they think their game plan is. Because remember, it's never one guy making all these decisions. Every once in a while, the owner will kick the door down and go, hey, I know we already took a quarterback, but get that kid out of Colorado. Get him on my team so we can have the dumbest quarterback room in history.
Again, the Philadelphia Eagles historically draft Jalen Reagor, and Mike Zimmer goes, get Justin Jefferson on the line right now.
Yeah. Yes. So you get plenty of people with the best intentions going out there. You also get the GMs. You also get the coaches that go, I'm not going to give you anything. If anything, I will give you misinformation just to see if I can use that to screw somebody up. So it's a very strange game to play. Like somebody asked John Schneider about mock drafts. And he goes, I love those guys. I wish I could be those guys. I get one shot. They do 7, 8, 10 of these things. I get one shot at it. And you have to do it in the moment. You can be sitting there at 32, and they may have every intention of trading out of that pick. If nobody calls and picks up the phone, they got to pick. They may have no intention of moving out of that pick. Somebody might call with the most ridiculous offer that you have no choice but to go out of that. You might have a situation where somebody passes on somebody that you have ranked so high that it is not a position of need in any universe. And you go, well, I can't pass on that, dude. So it is like the idea of going through and going, what you're doing is going, here's guys that I like. Doing the actual mock draft and going through the exercise, to me, is one of the more absurd things. Having idea of what your team needs as an outsider, for me, like I said, the running back is an easy one for me to draw to with the Seahawks because it's fun to watch. With the way that I don't even play fantasy football, but the way that we cover football for fantasy fans, the running back is going to get more headlines. The running back is going to get more juice. The running back is going to have more game-breaking runs than a defensive end. Defensive ends are great. The Seahawks have DeMarcus Lawrence. They have Derek Hall. They have these guys that are already they're trying to replace Boa Mafe, who is their third or fourth edge rusher when you count Uchenna Nwosu. So you're trying to replace a spot where you might get a guy that has all this upside, and they go, we actually like the guys that we've had with depth already, but we want this guy because of his upside, and we'll eventually work him in. I mean, you lost your Super Bowl MVP.
I mean, what do the Steelers do every year? That's exactly what they have the D linemen that they do, and then they go, all right, let's add another one.
Well, you need depth. That's a whole. I mean, I listed the 4 guys that were the top of the chart. You know who the Seahawks picked last year, and I think he was a rookie last year. I might have this wrong. They picked a guy named Riley Mills. You know who Riley Mills is?
backup for Leonard Williams.
He is a D tackle that was injured coming out of Notre Dame, so he was a late round pick.
I have him and Gray Zabel confused.
Yeah. Well, Gray Zabel is the offset. No, Gray Zabel is the guard. He is Leonard Williams' backup, but he was picked out of Notre Dame late because he was injured as a senior, so he wasn't going to play at the beginning of the year. They slowly worked him in. What do you do in the Super Bowl? But just bull rush right down the center of right over the center and right through the quarterback for a sack, and you just go, oh, that would have been nice to see all year. Well, guess what? He wasn't available all year. He was getting into shape. But you take those guys, and usually with late round picks, and you go, hey, I'm going to take this guy. And we're sitting there watching the Super Bowl, and my brother and my dad and somebody else look at me, and they go, who the hell is Riley Mills? But that's the fun thing about the draft is you get these guys. Yes, you lost Reek Woolen this year. Give me Reek Woolen's draft profile. Do you remember Reek Woolen? He's drafted in the 5th round. He was a wide receiver at UTEP. Did not play corner, so they go out and they get him. And what does he do as a rookie? Leads the NFL rookies with interceptions, ends up being a Pro Bowler.
San Antonio.
Texas San Antonio. But you get my point. Did anybody in this phase sitting there going, let's make our mocks, have Reek Woolen as the guy that was going to be the biggest impact rookie on that team? They did not. And then after he's an impact rookie, did anybody have him be the bonehead that worked his way out of a contract extension and only got a 1-year deal? I don't think they did. So it's so hard to project these things. Forget just the mathematics of going through the draft and trying to figure all that mess out. It's the actual draft happens, and they all go, yes, that's a guy I want. And then a month later, he gets an ATV accident and busts his face and never ends up suiting up for your team or even reporting, which I can't remember the kid's name out of Michigan State, but happened to the Seahawks a handful of years ago. They went and did the right thing, used a first or second on a pass rusher and a guy that was really productive, and you're really excited about it.
Malik McDowell.
There you go, Malik McDowell. So you have no idea how good these guys are actually going to be, how much care they're going to have when they actually get into the position. Are they going to have the ability to take what they did in the SEC, in the MAC, in the Sun Belt, and will it translate to the NFL? Because there's a lot of guys that play. I mean, your starting center and your starting left guard both played next to each other on the offensive line at North Dakota State 2 years ago, and last year, I guess it was 3 years ago because Sundell was there for an extra year, but you have 2 offensive linemen from a FCS school, and they go out there and are good enough to help push your team over the top and become a Super Bowl champion.
Them's the breaks.
It is such an impossible task, and then somebody sits down there and just goes, all right, at 1, I've got this guy, at 2, I've got this guy, and then from there on, I mean, people. How often do we see a trade at 2 where you go, what on earth? Or was it 3 for Mitchell Trubisky? And you go, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, they must see something. Oh, maybe he is good. And then he shows up and he looks good in the uniform and he's chucking the ball around. And then 3 years later, you're like, well, yeah, that was. Turns out my initial instinct, what the hell are they doing?
Or you trade up for a guy at 10. He wears 2 gloves, has small hands, and continues to throw interception after interception. But he does beat Baltimore.
And that's all you need. That's all you need is to beat Baltimore. All right, we didn't do our MLB whip around. We'll do it next. It is Happy Hour, bonus hour on 105.1 and the Fan Sports Network. All right. In the break, Casey Smith described himself as an NFL wind-up toy. I absolutely love that. It's so easy to get fired up about the NFL on April 17th. That's why that sport dominates so bad. We just got into a half-hour passionate conversation about things that will not actualize for years.
Until next Thursday.
No, they won't. That's just a ceremony. That's just bells and whistles. Actual things happened in baseball yesterday that I wanted to talk about. One of them is All-Star MVP and former Angel Garrett Anderson passed away at 53 years old. Sounds like it was a medical emergency at his home. R.I.P. Garrett Anderson. It's one thing to lose people that are legends in the sports, another to lose people that you grew up watching play baseball. So I think this is a little bit of a tough one. Losing Garrett Anderson. 53 seems really young, and kind of makes you go, ugh. And I think I read that he was the all-time leading hits leader in Angels history. But wanted to wish the best to his family and everything that goes with that. A couple other things that I wanted to get to before I get to my favorite thing. Losing a no-hitter in the ninth is absolutely brutal. That happened to Parker Messick yesterday for the Guardians. It would have been Cleveland's first no-hitter since Len Parker's perfect game in 1981. I'll have to find Patrick Harris. There's no way that's accurate, but that is what I'm reading. It would have been the first no-hitter since 1981 for the Guardians, or for Cleveland. They have not been the Guardians that long. But, it's one of the fun things about baseball. You get those moments. I've always said that one of the most entertaining baseball games I could imagine going to, and picture yourself here, Casey Smith. You and I go to a baseball game. Both pitchers take a perfect game into the ninth. How exciting would that be for you?
Insanely.
Okay. Now imagine the third person with us is at their first baseball game. Going, what the hell? There's been nothing going on. Like, what is going on? That's the funniest thing.
That.
You know what I mean? That's the funniest thing about baseball is some of the things that we as baseball fans absolutely love. Trying to explain to outsiders, my wife asked me about baseball. As soon as I start giving the answer, she's like, sorry, I don't know why I asked. It's the funniest thing.
Yeah, it looks like there hasn't been a no-hitter since 81.
Yeah.
All the ones before are 1940, 46, 51, 66, 74, 77.
I saw that stat. It absolutely blew my mind. I found it absolutely shocking to believe. That's what, like I said, I have it in an article here that I'm looking at, and I still didn't believe it. Padres getting close to a sale. $39 billion is the selling price. The Chelsea Football Club co-owner, Jose E. Filicano, if I have that right, whatever, who cares, is going to be the new Padres owner, and it'll be a $3.9 billion purchase. Do you think he will let the Padres have late checkouts?
Only if he needs to.
Okay. Is there anything more entertaining than a bench-clearing brawl?
Nothing.
How about a bench-clearing brawl to end a series? So, on the final out, the Giants and Reds finished their series with a bench-clearing brawl yesterday. I don't know what it is about fighting in sports that is so entertaining. It brought me back to my point that I made earlier this year. You want to save the NBA? Let them fight.
Let them go.
Just no penalties. Just let them go at it. It'll be a bunch of skinny guys flailing at each other. It'll be hilarious.
And then Beef Stew just coming in with heavy haymakers.
Yeah, well, if somebody's got a problem with Luka complaining, just go see how good of a fighter he is. And see what happens when his goons come in. I'm not sure who it'll be on the Lakers. It's not DeAndre Ayton. He'll be running the opposite direction. But, yeah, dude, having goons in basketball.
Here comes Bronny.
Yeah. I was thinking Rui Hachimura. I don't know why I thought that he might be the guy, but Bronny.
More likely than Bronny.
If Bronny ended up being the guy, instead of B9, he just goes with K9 and goes out there. He's like a little pit bull just going after people. They got denied the trademark for B9. I don't know what his middle name is.
Well, if he files one for K9, I'm sure that'll probably be shot down too.
Well, listen, they're all going to be shot down. They're like, I'm sorry, Bronny again? No, get out of here. They're just going to have to tell him, we need you to go. All right. This is maybe my favorite thing. We've already talked about how great the ABS system is. Did you happen to catch what happened in the Twins game yesterday?
No, I didn't.
Their catcher, a guy named Victor Caratini. Familiar with him?
Nope.
Doesn't matter if you are. He intentionally framed a pitch outside of the zone to trick the batter into calling for an ABS challenge. So one of the worries about the ABS system and going to robot umpires was that catchers who have become very good at framing pitches would then lose out on the additional money they get in contracts, on their value to the team for framing pitches. Because if you frame pitches well, and they keep track of all of this data, if you frame pitches well and it gets you 8 extra strikes a game compared to a guy that gets 4, that is insanely valuable. This dude reverse framed a pitch to trick a batter into wasting one of his 2 challenges. The Major League Baseball could have very easily went, hey, robot umps can be an option, and we'll go and we'll do this and make sure we get every strike and ball called correctly. Put an earpiece in the umpire's ear, and then you've got it right every single time. That would have eliminated the gamesmanship that these catchers get to play. Instead, they opted for the 2 challenge system. You get an extra one when you go to extra innings. It has created this extra layer to the game that is outstanding.
I love that. I love, again, baseball continuing to, with their rule additions.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
It is fun to watch. My big curiosity with this whole thing is what it looks like at the end of the season. They tested this in the minor leagues. Minor league players are going up and down, and they're trying to use a system or whatever. They're focused on their career. Major League Baseball's players are focused on what they can give to a team to be rewarded as much as they possibly can. Yes, they want to win, but they also want to go out there and just figure out how to be the best at their craft. They have nothing else to worry about besides wins and being the best player they can be. And those are the 2 goals that run in tandem a lot of times. Sometimes they don't necessarily run parallel to one another, but that is one of the funnier things that I have ever seen. And getting a ball, pulling it outside, and having the gamesmanship. Most of these things are just tip of the iceberg. The inevitable players calling for the challenge as they walk down to first base, tapping their helmet, hoping that they get the walk, expecting to get the walk, showing up the umpires. That's step 1. This is the next part of it. I honestly do not know what is next with the ABS challenge system, but every little nuance to it 100% intrigued me.
I'm all for it right now.
Yeah. Well, but have you seen, I guess the big question is, have you seen any flaws in it? Have you seen any distinct flaws? Now, you can have a flaw in the way that your team is using them. Early on, the Mariners just felt like they were afraid to use them. Hitters are worse at predicting whether or not the ball is a ball or strike is called incorrectly than catchers are. Catchers are getting very good at it. Pitchers are almost never doing it. I don't know what the numbers are now. Earlier this week, it was close to 500 challenges by catchers, just below that, high 400s for hitters, and it was like 20 challenges for pitchers. Most pitchers are not going out there and challenging, they're trusting their catchers, which has been part of that battery relationship for the history of baseball, so that totally makes sense. Catchers are somewhere around 60%, batters are somewhere around 45% accurate. So even just seeing how much those numbers change will be really interesting. But so far, man, I have not heard a negative about the ABS system.
And that's all you can ask for.
Were you pulling up numbers? Did you?
Yeah, I've got right now the Minnesota Twins lead with the most successful overturns as a team. They've won 15, challenged 31 of them. Yankees are second, challenged 29 and won 13 of them.
Do you assign a guy in your clubhouse, whether it's, the hitting coach or one of the position coaches or one of the whoever? You have the guys in the NFL that are your game clock guys that, are in the ear of the head
guys
coach.
With the mic and the helmet.
Do you have somebody that is working on off days while everybody else is in the cage? Do you have somebody working on strategy for this?
I guarantee it.
You like the best teams, I'm sure do.
Yeah,
the worst teams may not.
I bet there's, again, Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge. They're the leader of the clubhouse. They're sitting down going, all right, if I have a challenge in this situation, and just kind of going over scenarios.
Yeah. I think there's no way that Caratini does this ball framing and holding it outside of the zone without having planned to do so. There is no way he accidentally framed the pitch outside. But the idea of getting it within the eye shot of the hitter to deke him, it's just this is turning baseball into something that is so much more layered with the little game inside the game. And it's hilarious to think, and I don't know what the result of the game ended up being from did they run out of challenges or whatever it is, but those things can be like gold. You run out of them early, and then you have a pitch that's obviously correct or incorrect, depending on which side you're on, and you don't have the opportunity to challenge it. Whoo, buddy.
And if you can change a game,
yes, you can.
By being, again, Caratini is ranked as the 49th best catcher in terms of frame rate.
Well, there you go.
So if you can change the game by not being an everyday guy and still making an impact, that's incredible.
I love it. Well, hey, let's get into our normal shenanigans. We have a little bonus for you guys if you're Mariners fans, or if you're not and like laughing at the Mariners start, you might enjoy it as well. Instead of having a comic for our Fan Club Friday, we're going to have Gary Hill Jr. from the Mariners broadcast team join us. So we'll talk a little bit about the M's and their slow start. Just got swept by the Padres, but they get to take on the Rangers this weekend. So we'll talk a little bit about that at 2:30. We'll get to your normal happy hour next. It's Happy Hour on 105.1 The Fan.
Hey, it's Tyler.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on The Fan, your NBA playoff bracket is just 2 games away from being set as the Charlotte Hornets. They will take on the Orlando Magic for the 8th and final spot in the Eastern Conference playoffs to see who will face off against the top-seeded Detroit Pistons in the first round. Tip-off at 4:30 for that one, as the Warriors and the Phoenix Suns, they will wrap up our slate of play-in games tonight at 7 p.m. in Phoenix to decide who will be the 8th seed in the West, taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round. The Oregon Ducks baseball game versus Illinois has been moved up if you haven't seen it. Ducks are on the road in Champaign taking on the Illini. First pitch was at 1:30 this afternoon, and you can catch that over on 9:10 a.m. as coverage is going right now. Your Portland Timbers are on the road taking on Minnesota United FC tomorrow in St. Paul. Timbers are 2-4-1 on the season as Minnesota comes into this match as the clear betting favorites. Catch all the game day coverage right here on 105.1 The Fan when pregame starts at 4:30. And mark your calendars, folks, because we are exactly 6 days away from the 2026 NFL Draft. Ahead of the draft in Pittsburgh, the Houston Texans are locking down their all-pro pass rusher as Will Anderson has agreed to a 3-year, $150 million extension. That includes $134 million guaranteed. Will Anderson will now become the NFL's highest non-paid quarterback ever. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Hey, it's on. Look, it's on.
Oh, it's on.
It is so on.
Pull up a chair, grab a cold one, smoke them if you got them. It's time for the Fan Happy Hour. On the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 and 1080. The Fan. Here's your host, Luke Anderson.
Hey! Happy National Haiku Poetry Day! All you beautiful radio listeners, thank you for dropping in on our little happy hour. We appreciate you listening. If you're watching on YouTube, here's a hand gesture just for you. You're welcome. YouTubers, feel free to hit us up on the chat. If you're listening on the radio through 105.1 FM, 1080 AM on 105.1thefan.com, Odyssey.com, the Odyssey app, or you asked your smart speaker to tell me the tiebreaker scenarios for the Vetter Cup, use the Fan text line. It's 503-2GO-FAN. That's 503-864-6326. Use it. Use the chat. Use the text to share your thoughts, ask questions, solicit advice, or answer me this, dear listeners. You ever written poetry about your favorite sports team? Casey Smith, would you like to hear my haiku about the Seattle Mariners?
Hit me with it.
M's were good last year. High hopes for 2026. Nope, we suck again. All right, there's your... You count the syllables. I think I got it right. Here's the thing. We just got swept by the Padres. That stinks. Middle of May, we got another series. It's another 3-game series. That means you are playing 6 games against the Padres. The Vetter Cup will be decided in those next 3 games. But I know what you're wondering. And we can ask Gary Hill if he knows this, because I don't even know if you would have guessed. Do you have any idea what the tiebreakers are? There are 2 of them. If the Vetter Cup goes to a 3-3 tie. So let's say the Mariners figure it out. I'm not optimistic right at the moment. I'm not super pessimistic, but I don't love the way that things are going. Your top 3 hitters are all hitting in the mid-100s. Cal Raleigh, Josh Naylor, and Julio Rodriguez. The guys that you've got locked up and you have put a lot of money into, put a lot of faith into at the top of your order, they're terrible right now. Yeah, you're getting beat when your good arms are out there. You're losing games you probably shouldn't with Andres Munoz out there. Do I think they're going to turn around by May? I can see them doing that. Were the Padres red hot coming into this? Well, they certainly are coming out of it. Whatever. So, care to guess what the tiebreaker scenarios are if the Mariners can figure it out and return the favor of the home sweep against the Padres?
We flipping a coin?
No, don't be ridiculous. First tiebreaker, run differential. So we'll do a little run differential. The nice thing is you lose one of the games in a walk-off, so there's only one run there. The other ones are going to be pretty good. Whatever. Let's say the Mariners can get it. Let's say they finish with a tied run differential. Do you know what EV stands for?
Exit velo?
Eddie Vedder and exit velo. If the clubs share an even run differential in the season series, the teams with the highest exit velocity recorded on a hit will win the Vetter Cup. I didn't think I could love this stupid thing anymore, but I am officially in love with the Vetter Cup. I mean, come on. How
is that
good?
Highest exit velo on a hit ball?
Yes.
Okay.
On a hit will win the entire stupid trophy. Come on.
For a second, I was really thinking that it's just exit velo regardless of a hit, so a guy could have a 120-mile-an-hour strikeout.
What? No, exit velo is off the bat.
Or a foul ball, yeah.
Yeah.
A foul ball, then.
Yeah, but it's a hit. It's got to be a hit. It says on a hit will win the series. How funny is that? the Vedder Cup second tiebreaker is Exit Velo. Thank you. Did you watch any of these games? Like I
caught the first one.
Every time they like change like the from the booth to the field or whatever, the wipe has like the big Vedder Cup logo on it. It sits up as a watermark on the field. I mean, they didn't win the World Series last year, but they won the Vedder Cup, and it might have been the most important thing that happened all year. I know they got within 8 outs of going to the World Series, but I probably more than anybody held on to this stupid Vedder Cup thing. Thank you for participating in this, Mariners. Thank you for participating in this Padres. And thank you, Cubs fan Eddie Vedder, for creating this whole stupid thing. I don't know why, but I absolutely love it. Speaking of things that I love, you should join us for one of those things. It is on June 23rd as Toyota presents the Fan Golf Classic. Here's what's really exciting. I think this is my 13th Fan Golf Classic, maybe 12th. It's your first. It's Casey Smith's first ever Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farm. Foursomes are on sale now. Choose between the morning or the afternoon round, or I'm going to tell you right now, you're allowed to do both, but get your group signed up fast because it sells out quickly. It is the most fun day in golf with activations and tastings around the course and the infamous Angels Envy Bourbon Par 3 6th hole, where all of our hosts, Dirt and Sprague, Danny and Patrick, myself, Isaac and Suk, will be posted up to heckle and admire your shots. Head to 1051thefan.com. Click on the Fan Golf Classic logo for information and to sign up today. It is presented by Toyota. It's also brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction, Henderson and Daughter Window and Doors, George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law, Battery Exchange, Mastro Dobel Tequila, Your Neighborhood Restaurant Group, Philbrook Law, 1-800-DIVORCE, Roto-Rooter, A Legal Mezcal, and Window Nation. Should we do? I want to get to it early. I've got more. I've always got more. Well, here, I got one thing. I wanted to get this in the bonus hour. This is a very weird thing. As you know, I'm a Seahawks fan. You end up catching stories about your team. I don't know if you have one that you can relate to about the Pittsburgh Steelers, but this one caught me off guard. You know who JSN is?
I do.
His name is Jackson Smith-Njigba. They've abbreviated because it's kind of a long name. It's not that hard to say, Gronk, but it's kind of a funky name. So it's JSN. He led the NFL in receiving. Coming out of college, I don't know if you know this, as a senior or as a junior at Ohio State, whatever his last year was, in his final year at Ohio State, he played 3 games. You know why? Hamstring injuries. Do you know why the Seahawks believe he had hamstring injuries? And do you know what they did about it? They scanned his foot and found out that he was wearing shoes that were too big. At Ohio State, he wore a size 12. The relationship that the Seahawks have with Nike has got them into scanning everyone's foot and found out that JSN was a 10.5. Whatever their scientists' brains had, either at the Seahawks or at the folks at Nike or whatever, they combined to decide that the reason his hamstring was prone to getting hurt was because his shoes were too big. They got him in 10.5s, and he has played 17 of 17 games for the first 3 years of his career with the Seattle Seahawks. There was an interview with on the John Schneider show yesterday, and their big brain behind their equipment, this guy Eric Kennedy, came on and said, yep, we did this foot scan and said, he's wearing the wrong shoes. How freaking crazy is that?
It's crazy it took him that long.
I mean, but Ohio State probably going to start scanning feet. Do you really think? I mean, but he didn't know. That's the other thing. That's wild.
That's really weird that you just walk around in a shoe size and a half too big.
Yeah. I just the whole thing of them going, all right, how do we prevent injury? I guess for me, it's the science that goes behind sport right now. Like, you can look at it and go, oh, there's no way the guys back in the 70s would have been able to compete with the guys today. Oh, look at all the records are being broken. There's rule changes. There are advancements. There are guys looking at the most minuscule things to try to find an edge, including, is my high draft pick, potential star wide receiver, wearing the right size shoes? It's shocking. It's the whole thing is crazy.
I looked this up because I was curious about it.
Yeah.
Wearing large shoes can cause hamstring damage, primarily by forcing the body to compensate for reduced stability, leading to altered gait mechanics, inefficient muscle usage, and chronic tension.
Well, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is science. Let's do some In Case You Missed It, shall we? In case you missed it, fans traveling to MetLife Stadium for the 2026 World Cup will face a staggering $150 round-trip train fare from New York City to New Jersey as the city attempts to recoup transit costs. State officials are defending the 1,000% price hike as a necessary move to cover security and infrastructure. They've also clarified it is not price gouging. In proper soccer parlance, it's called getting kicked in the balls. So it is not... It's not a field, it's a pitch. Not price gouging. It's a boot to the balls. In case you missed it, the Houston Texans have officially made Will Anderson Jr. the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, signing the All-Pro to a 3-year, $150 million extension. Anderson has been an absolute game wrecker since his drafted 3rd overall in the 2023 draft. Now that the defense is locked up, it's interesting to see what Houston does with their other game wrecker, C.J. Stroud. It'll be interesting. What do you do with a guy that has 5 turnovers in a playoff game? I'm not sure. In case you missed it, Chargers offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel reportedly secured his top free agent targets, Keaton Mitchell and Alec Ingold, by hanging Old West-style wanted posters in the GM's office. It's a move that proves Mike McDaniel's quirky personality still works behind the scenes, and it also makes me think that a coach that uses arts and crafts to communicate isn't suited for being a head coach in this league. I just feel like...
Don't you dare talk bad about Mike McDaniel.
I got a guy that you'll love me talking bad about.
He's a biracial angel.
Yes, we know. In case you missed it, Ravens wide receiver Zay Flowers is speaking out, claiming that his former head coach John Harbaugh's grueling full pad practices were the direct cause of the team's massive injury issues. It's a bold move. Imagine being a Super Bowl winning coach and being taunted about how you planned your practices, especially when it's a guy with a sterling reputation like Zay Flowers tells you that you dropped the ball. I mean, that is too subtle.
Zay Flowers?
Did I fumble that setup? Did I?
Not as bad as Zay Flowers.
That was when he tells you dropped the ball, then yeah. Oh, I thought it just went over your head.
It was a miss.
Okay. All right. In case you missed it, LeVar Ball is publicly ripping Nick Wright for calling his son LaMelo a clown, with LeVar asking, "Has Nick ever looked in the mirror? A clown in itself." However, the real fallout is the nation's coalition of professional clowns has now issued a formal statement distancing themselves from the feud. The group clarified, "Clowns are legitimate entertainers. We bring joy to children's birthday party. We provide fun sideshows at rodeos and circuses, and we occasionally murder people in sewers. We are deeply offended by the implication that we would ever conduct ourselves like the Ball family or those morons in the hot take industry." So very... Shortly after the statement, 30 clowns carrying briefcases reportedly climbed out of a tiny car with mini briefcases acting like high-priced lawyers. They then opened the briefcases, pulled out shaving cream pies, and smashed them into each other's faces. I think they proved their point, who the professionals really are. Speaking of LaMelo Ball, in case you missed it, he is insisting there is no bad blood after the tripping incident that knocked Bam Adebayo out of the play-in game with a back injury. LaMelo dismissed the drama, saying, quote, "It's all basketball. Hey, stupid, you just got fined $35,000 because a trip that sends a guy to the locker room is distinctly not basketball. I hope so when someone runs him over with a Zamboni in tonight's game and shouts, 'It's all basketball,' while he's being scraped off the hardwood." What an idiot. Like, literally, you were fined because it was not a basketball play. That's the only reason it's a fine, you dope. In case you missed it, Yankees manager Aaron Boone was ejected for the first time this season after a controversial balk call led to an Angels grand slam. Despite the veins in his neck looking like a roadmap of New Jersey, Boone claims that he was completely calm during the exchange. Of course, you have to remember, perfectly calm on the Aaron Boone scale is roughly equivalent to a normal person's about to fight at a Waffle House at 3 a.m. So just gotta balance it out. And finally, in case you missed it, a Pirates fan caught groping a female companion during a live broadcast of a Pirates game. A fan went viral for being caught inappropriately touching a female companion's breast on live television in extra innings. The broadcast camera zoomed in on the batter during a tense moment, accidentally capturing the antics in the background. Getting quite the reaction, but I can't say that I understand it. They're really just kind of into the game. I mean, let's be honest. It's extra innings. You automatically get to start at second base. Like, that is... Am I wrong?
That was one of your best.
Thank you very much. If you caught the video, it's more aggressive than intimate. We know the Pirates lost. I'm guessing this guy didn't score either. Boom. No? I went too far. Damn it. Oh, you just feel bad for the guy.
I feel a little bad for the guy. For the guy?
Have you seen the actual...
I feel bad for the woman.
Yes, you should. It is very aggressive and a little too much so. It was not an intimate moment. For anybody that wrote these headlines, I clicked in. I'm like, ooh, what do we got going on back there? It is a jostling, if anything. Thank you to our studio audience. We have Gary Hill Jr. joining us at 2:30. We're going to talk some Seattle Mariners. What the hell is going wrong in Seattle? But right now we need to get to some Daily Buzz. Talk a little bit about the Blazers' upcoming matchup with the Spurs. We'll take a look at what's going on in some stories around baseball. And what else do we have here? Oh, Angie Mentake's reaction to being caught using AI. It's actually pretty good. I got to give her a little bit of credit. We'll do that. Daily Buzz next on Happy Hour. It's 105.1 The Fan.
The Fan Golf.
big weekend in sports, and it starts this afternoon, 4:30. The Charlotte Hornets are at the Orlando Magic. Winner is in as the 8th seed. The loser is into the NFL or the NBA draft lottery. Same scenario, Golden State at Phoenix, 7 p.m. tonight. The big news is tomorrow morning, technically 4 different lacrosse games for the Thunderwolves, but we don't need to get into that. More importantly, probably for you guys, since your daughters don't play on my daughter's lacrosse team and I'm not coaching them, is, of course, the NBA playoffs officially starting. The Toronto Raptors are at the Cleveland Cavaliers, Minnesota at Denver, Atlanta at New York, and Houston at the Lakers will be your matchups on Saturday. Sunday is where you get all this play-in action, and your Portland Trailblazers will be the finale for the weekend of the postseason launch. That'll be a 6 p.m. game, Portland at San Antonio. The first game of the day will be Philadelphia at Boston. Of course, Oklahoma City and Detroit await their opponents.
The Buzz.
We mentioned that we'll be talking to Gary Hill here in just a little bit, so we're going to skip ahead past a couple Mariners stories, and we'll dive into those. But there is one that I wanted to point out. Angie Mentic got caught using AI to ask what questions do you ask after a tough loss a couple nights ago when the Mariners blew a 4-run lead in the bottom of the 9th, and I'm getting walked off when who I can't remember, Minter? No, it
Jackson Merrill.
Jackson Merrill got the walk-off double that scored 2 runs and sent the Mariners toward the sweep that was completed last night. Angie, her response was pretty hilarious. She said, "I am looking up on AI right now how to handle going viral for using AI." Are you not supposed to plan and prepare what questions you have? You use the tools I have in front of you. Is she going and stealing it because she has no idea what to ask, or is she going, this is going to be a rough one?
It's a 9th inning pivot right there.
Hey, phone. Yeah, you're sitting there ready to go. Hey, what a great game. Luke Raley had his first 4-hit game.
The story is already written.
Emerson Hancock has another great outing. What are you going to do with this rotation? What does it mean to have a guy that can step in and do this? And then all of a sudden it goes sideways. I don't know who you're supposed to consult on that, but hey, we've all got these devices. If you don't use AI, if you use Google, if you use your notes, originality is forgetting where you heard something, so I give her no blame on that whatsoever. Let's move on from the Mariners real quick.
The Buzz.
The Mets are going to shake things up. They are going to move their leadoff hitter, Francisco Lindor, to third and put Carson Bench, the rookie, up to the number 1 spot. They are on an 8-game losing streak that turned into 9 today when they lost to the Cubs. I didn't see the final. The Cubs were up 10-3. I think that's how it went. It is off my screen, which makes me think
12-4 was the final.
12-4, which makes me think that they did not come back. Otherwise, it would still be on my TV in here.
The Buzz.
We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Luka Doncic, Cade Cunningham both got exemptions to be eligible for the NBA postseason awards despite not playing the required 65 games. Mentioned that Ant Edwards missed it by a few games. Here's the other players that did not quite make it, just in case you were wondering. I hadn't seen this list, so I figured I'd give it to you. Devin Booker, 64 games, missed the cutoff by a single game. LeBron James, 60 games, will not be part of the All-NBA team for the first time in his career. Steph Curry only played 43 games. He will not have an All-NBA nod for the first time since 2020. And Giannis Antetokounmpo will miss out on All-NBA. He only played 36 games for the first time since 2016.
The Buzz.
And finally, if you're looking for a fun video, a mounted police officer cornered a purse snatcher in New York. There is a horse chase through the streets of Manhattan. If you're looking for something fun to watch, go ahead and find yourself that on the internet. But right now, we need to walk over to the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk to see what we're missing. And it's a good one.
First on the Fan, I was going to go with a Bryson DeChambeau story.
Sure.
I've got a pivot. After resigning from the New York Times amid a blistering scandal and a resulting media circus, Page Six hears that top NFL journalist Diana Russini mounted a daring rescue of an elderly man and his dog from an overturned Jeep.
What?
Local news site Patch reported that around 5 p.m. on Wednesday, a 17-year-old driving a Honda Civic turned onto the street in suburban Wyckoff, New Jersey, and collided with the Jeep, flipping the 4x4 onto its side. An eyewitness tells us that Rossini was driving along the same road as the Jeep, and the accident happened right in front of her car. She ran out and had a tall man put her on top of the Jeep to open the door, and she and the other guy pulled the driver out and his dog out of the Jeep. Cops arrived soon after. Police sources tell Page Six that they believe that bystanders helped deal with the crash before officers arrived. Diana Rossini is a superwoman.
Well, she's got nothing better to do. I mean, hey, if you got what? She just resigned from her job. She wasn't on her way to get anywhere unless she had another appointment or something. Am I wrong? Did her and the guy that helped her go home together? I don't know. I'm trying to find details on the story. This is so new that I can't find anything online about it. I was trying to add to the story, but I've got nothing. So I'm asking questions. Are these follow-up questions out of bounds? If they are, I apologize.
No, but
okay.
Too soon, maybe?
Maybe. Hey, is everybody okay? What? She's a hero.
She's a hero. That's a spectacular story.
Hero feels like a stretch. She's a hero. Sorry, she's a hero.
And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the Fan Happy Hour with Luke Anderson. Weekdays 2 to 3. The Fan Sports Network. 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Xfinity Tech Support. Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote. Oh!
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026. Taxes, fees, extra.
I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds on my home insurance. Really smart. Unfortunately, I didn't check to see which type of soap I put into the dishwasher. Not so good. Well, looks like the kids are enjoying their new indoor slip and slide.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Not available in every state. Potential savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
It's Isaac and Suk with our friends Ken and Donnie from The Advocates.
If there's someone right now sitting out there thinking about placing that phone call, but are scared or nervous, call.
I wish they could meet either us or our team that answers the phone. The most normal, nice, laid back. They're going to help. They're going to care about what happened.
There's no risk to calling. You're going to be taken care of. We're here to help. Like, that's our job.
You need more than a lawyer. You deserve an advocate. Advocateslaw.com.
Weather brought to you by...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are taking a little diversion from having a comedian join us here, and we're going to get somebody that knows what he's talking about. It'll be a nice change for this show. We welcome in one of the voices of the Seattle Mariners on radio, Gary Hill Jr. Gary, thanks for taking a couple minutes to talk about the Seattle Mariners and a slow start to a season where expectations are through the roof. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it, Luke.
Absolutely. I am a loyal Mariners fan. I was born into it. I had no other choice. I have been to this. I was saying this is the first year in probably 3 years that I'm not in San Diego to watch the what is now the Vetter Cup. Boy, after a weekend that was so good, it sure didn't look good, and I know that the Astros have one of maybe the worst pitching staffs we've ever seen. I mean, they're not only are they bad, they're injured and bad. And then you go into a very hot Padres team. At what point do we start thinking that this is what the Mariners are, or is this just a matter of it's early and we're still trying to figure some things out?
Yeah, it has been a wild ride so far this season, that's for sure. I do think it's still early. I think context is always important when you look at a season, especially early on, because take the Astros, for example. They're actually a perfect example of this. You know, the Astros were a team that we all thought would be good coming into the season. We expected them to compete in the American League West, and, you know, they've had problems so far this season. The difference between like the Mariners and the Astros or the Mariners and the Blue Jays, there are things going on there where you're like, whoa, this could actually be a problem. When you look at the Astros pitching and the guys they've lost, you know, Hunter Brown, one of the best pitchers in the game, it actually looks like this could be a problem for them moving forward. And I would say the same for the Blue Jays. They've had a lot of injury problems. They've lost Bichette. There's some things going on there that you do have some questions, even though it's early. Could they both right the ship and be great? I mean, the Astros did a couple years ago. Sure, that could happen, but there's some alarming things there. I think it's pretty clear what's going on with the Mariners. I just think they have really good players that aren't playing well and aren't being consistent. I think it's been as simple as that early on, and I think especially, like, it's all pretty easy to diagnose when you look at their offense specifically. The middle of the order bats haven't gotten it going yet. And given the track record with Cal, with Julio, with Josh Naylor, it feels like that's going to happen. They're healthy, they're there, they just haven't gotten it going yet. So I think that's the difference. So that's why I say, yeah, it's early. It's a frustrating start. I get it, especially with, you know, not even so much the Padres series because that team was red hot, but more of the last road trip against the Angels and Rangers with all those one-run games. The offense was, if one of those guys were going, like it's one swing a game and it changes everything. I think that's been pretty frustrating early on.
Yeah, I think the most difficult thing about the Padres series, of course, is giving up the big lead. But one of the other things that we're watching in that series, man, when Mason Miller comes in, I got to see him pitch once live. Actually, I think it was last year, maybe against San Diego late in the year. But how different does the ball look coming off his hand from your vantage point? Because, boy, at home, 104 looks pretty special, and obviously the results have proven that it's pretty difficult to hit off this guy.
I have never seen anything like it. It is truly unbelievable. And in an era where we see big stuff every single day, you know, it's not that uncommon now to see triple digits. He is on a different planet. I mean, 103, 104, wipeout slider. You really wonder watching him, is he going to give up a run, and how is he going to give up a run? It's surreal. You know, he was traded over to the Padres last year.
I know he's out of our division, which made me pretty happy.
I know. You know, as I was watching him pitch, I was like, maybe the A's will win the deal in the long run. I don't know, but I was watching this play out, and like for the time being, for right now, oh, it's so great that he's not in the division. You only play him 2 series instead of 4. I don't think that's a small thing. And, you know, once he got traded over last year, he gave up 2 runs in his second appearance. He's given up nothing since the beginning of August last year. It's almost 30 innings with 60 strikeouts. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. We're talking with Gary Hill Jr., one of the voices of the Mariners radio broadcast. You've been the executive producer there for 9 years. You've been with the club since 2010. I think I'm with you on the odd start that the team has had. I mean, when you see Cal and Naylor and J-Rod, all of them starting off with this kind of slow start, their numbers are down. Julio especially has been one of those guys that is notorious for slow starts. So I'm okay with that, and I think I'm on the same page as you. If we look at it in reverse, some of the guys that we didn't expect to hit this well so far have been really good. Luke Raley is your best hitter. Cole Young has been really good. So if we expect everything to go back to normal for the guys at the top of the order that we know can hit well, do we expect the guys that we didn't expect to continue to play like they have? I know Luke Raley was injured last year and pretty good the year before. What do we expect from the guys that have maybe played a little better than we expected? And throw Emerson Hancock in there as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and I think each case is a little individual. And I think for Luke Raley, he just wasn't healthy last year. His year was torpedoed by injury and just was not healthy. The year before was a really solid season. I mean, over 20 homers, over 20 doubles, career highs, and he was one of the Mariners' best hitters. So is he going to keep this pace up and get like 11 hits for every 5 games? No, but can he be a productive bat? And especially when the middle gets going, you can really see how he really lengthens the lineup with that power, especially with the middle of the order getting on base. It kind of changes everything. So I think that's exciting. Cole Young is, I think sometimes we, the baseball world, kind of lose sight. He's just 21.
Yeah.
Last year he had a nice run. He kind of had a struggle bookend. He struggled to start, struggled to end, but in between was pretty good.
I can apologize for Cole Young's year last year. The only 2 games of the year I went to watch games in person were his 2 walk-offs. And then I should have went to more games, so I apologize for not going to more games. He'd be in the Hall of Fame already, so that's my fault on that.
I think he is a promising young player. Like I have no idea what his final line is going to look like at the end of the year, but especially where he's going to bat in the order, you're not asking him to carry the offense, just kind of be productive. And he's been excellent defensively.
Yes,
so far he's been their best defensive player on the field. And then for Hancock, he is different. Like, he is pitching differently than he used to. Like, he's using the 4-seam upstairs with his arm angle, which he didn't use a ton in the past. It's made the 2-seam better. He's actually using it less, but the numbers are better, and he's got the sweeper, a weapon that he's never had before. So he's been a different guy so far while holding some velocity as well. So, his ERA is 2. It's not going to stay there all season, but I think it's promising what we've seen so far, and it's been necessary without Miller, and we know there's not a ton of starting pitching depth. So he's going to be a real key for the Mariners this year, I think.
Well, I guess the question is if his ERA isn't going to stay there, is Emerson Hancock going to stay there? Bryce Miller's throwing right now, I believe, in some rehab work and should be up maybe by the beginning of May. So then what do you do with this rotation? You're not going to go 6 guys in a starting rotation. So who's the odd man out if he continues to pitch like this in his next couple starts?
Yeah, see, that's a great question. I always feel like these things tend to work themselves out naturally because I feel like we always get in these kind of conversations. What's going to happen when? And then something inevitably, injury, something along the way happens, and it kind of becomes obvious what should happen. I will say this, as long as Hancock's pitching like this, you don't remove him from the rotation.
Yeah, no
He's
kidding.
just been too good. Like, you can't take him out. I think what it does give the Mariners, it gives the Mariners time, which I think is really important when it comes to Miller. Because we saw Miller 2 years ago to end the season. He was one of the best pitchers in baseball. And we saw the flashes last year in the postseason. He just wasn't right last year, though.
Yep.
So I think what this does, it affords the Mariners to take time with Miller. Because when he's right, he's a difference maker. And they can take their time for him to get there. And I think that's the most important thing. And then we can figure it out later. Who stays in the rotation? Who goes? I do think, if they get things going in the second half and maybe have a lead in the division, when you start to think about postseason and innings, I do think there could be room for a six-man later on down the road, but that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, for sure. When hopefully we'll have more of these. We're talking with Gary Hill Jr., radio broadcast for the Seattle Mariners. How much time do you get? I know in spring trading you would have been exposed to the three guys that everybody's talking about that aren't on the Major League roster right now: Colt Emerson, Ryan Sloan, Cade Anderson. It sounds like you've said that the starting pitching depth isn't much beyond what we're seeing with Emerson Hancock, so I think that means that you're expecting it'll be probably not this year that we see the two arms. But what about Colt Emerson? And do you think if we continue with a slow start, it might be worth shaking things up and bringing up a guy that has that much talent?
Well, first of all, I do think we could see them this year.
Okay.
I think they are. I think the starting pitching depth is not long, but I think after Hancock, you start to get into the conversation with Cade Anderson. I think closer than Sloan, just because he pitched at LSU and pitched in college. But
and he's left-handed. Would be nice to see a left-hander in the starting rotation. I'm trying to remember the last time there was somebody. These five guys. Now six with Hancock, feels like that's been the rotation for half a decade.
100%. Yeah, since Paxton, I think, is really the last
I guess that's right.
left-hander in the rotation. So it's been a while. You're right about that. But I think Cade Anderson is a solution down the road. And he's been great so far to start. He's only pitched a couple times in the minors, so there is okay, let's see how this plays out a little bit. Give him a little seasoning in the minors before he gets called up. Same with Sloan, who's 20, but they're both really impressive. So I do think there's a chance we see them both at some point, and I do think Emerson will see at some point as well. And I kind of think along the lines of Miller that there will be a time where it becomes obvious, whether it's injury or something along those lines, where he'll come up and he'll play. And fortunately, the Mariners do have some flexibility where he can play a couple spots, Donovan can play a few spots, so as needed, you can move things around. But they are sky high on Colt Emerson. They think he is going to be really, really good, obviously. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given him the contract. I mean, that goes without saying. But just talking to him, watching him play, he's very impressive.
Yeah,
very impressive.
And did you get much chance to talk with him? Because I've heard is that way mature, way beyond his years.
Yes, 100%. I would say the same thing about Ryan Sloan too.
Yeah,
you come away talking to both those guys like, well, I didn't talk to a 20-year-old just now. I think about myself as a 20-year-old. I could barely put two words together, and they're just so thoughtful and interesting. And the common thread between all these guys and what I think the Mariners have done really well in terms of drafting is they love the game. They are ball players. They are all in, which I think is super fun. I think the Mariner fans are going to gravitate to all those guys.
Well, I said all week that this was a big series because you just got swept by the Rangers. You have them at home. This was before they were swept by the Padres, so it feels like there's a little bit more importance on it. Division series are always important. What's your preview for us for this weekend before we let you go?
Yeah, I think you're right. It is a big series. I think the most important thing about the first month is don't bury yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't win anything in the first month, but you can really hurt yourself. And if you have a couple more bad series, you start to get into that territory. And so I think it's going to be a great series. The pitching matchups are incredible. You've got Gilbert and DeGrom going tonight. You've got Kirby and Eovaldi tomorrow. And you got Wu and Gore going in Game 3. So as much as we talked about trying to get the offense going, it doesn't feel like this is a series where you're going to get 9 runs a game, so you need to pitch really well. And for me, specifically, the biggest thing for the Mariners right now is they're just not slugging.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
The homers, the doubles aren't there. That needs to come for the Mariners because that's a game changer. Mix in a 2-run home run here, a 2-run double there. It's a huge difference maker. They have the guys to do it. This would be a great weekend to start mixing a couple of those in against Texas because as we saw, all those games were close in Texas.
Yeah, for sure.
Swing here, swing there can make the difference.
All right. Well, Gary Hill Jr., thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to talk to us. Hopefully we'll have a chance to do this more as the season goes on. And the next time we do it, we're talking about a Mariners sweep going into a series over the weekend instead of a Padres sweep. Hopefully. Oh, one quick question. I meant to ask you this right up front. Do you know what the tiebreaker scenarios are for the Vedder Cup? Are you familiar? Okay. How much do you love the Vedder Cup? After seeing that exit velocity, we talked about this earlier in the show, exit velocity as the second tiebreaker because it is the same initials as Eddie Vedder is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
I am kind of all in on this. How much fun is the Vedder Cup just in its second year?
I think it's really fun because I think the Padres are a super fun team. I think San Diego is a great place to visit.
Amen.
I think that's a great ballpark. You know, it's different than like the Astros where there's like real hatred between between Mariner fans and the Astros, right? There's no you can't hate San Diego, you can't hate the Padres. They're not fighting for a wild card or anything like that. But I think it's fun because the games have been really good when the two teams have gotten together. They're kind of similar. They're both, I mean, especially the Padres right now. This is the golden era in Padres baseball. This is the best time in Padres history. They've been to the playoffs 4 of the past 6 years. They're really good again. And I think the Mariners are on that kind of path, like their golden era right now. So there's a lot of similarities, and I think the games have just been super fun. So I've really enjoyed it, and I'm glad they play each other a couple series a year because I think it's super fun baseball.
Agreed. We'll talk to you soon, hopefully, and have a great call against the Rangers this weekend. That's Gary Hill Jr. We need to do one more for the road. We do it next. It's Happy Hour on 105.1 and the Fan Sports Network.
Prime Time with Isaac and Suk.
We got a haul. What do we got? Anything real quick that we need to get to, Mr. Smith?
What's the third tiebreaker in the Vetter Cup?
That's it. Those are the 2 tiebreakers. Yep, that's it. That's all you got. Maybe it goes to coin toss. Let's do. The list of the 100 best cities to live in. Small and medium-sized cities. The best one in the Northwest, at least. Vancouver, Washington. Big shout-out. Number 14 on the list. Other Northwest cities. Eugene, 44. Spokane, 45. Gresham, 48. Kennewick, 50. And Salem, 72.
Eugene beats Spokane?
But Vancouver beats them all. Get out of here with my hometown. All right, everybody have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Casey Smith. Big thanks to Gary Hill Jr. Thank you to everybody that listened. Of course, thank you, Isaac Ropp. We're done for now. Bye-bye.
Don't be silly chumps.